There are other responsibilities in relation to the surveying reference systems that we have in New Zealand. So namely the geodetic reference system as well as the cadastral reference system. So they are different, but they are both maintained by Land Information New Zealand. So although both systems are not the same, they do work together to provide all the information that we need for creating any parcel-based frameworks to ensure the correct and accurate recording of rights to land. So what this means is that the geodetic reference system is what provides the underlying spatial reference system for New Zealand, and that information can then be used as the basis of our cadastral system. So some of you might be familiar with the concept of working from the whole to the part, but I'll try to explain to some of you who might have not been here last semester what we mean by that. So let's assume that trying to pick. All right, so let's assume that overall in the entirety of New Zealand, so assuming that we've got a large area, like a country, for instance, like New Zealand, then it will be covered by a range of what we call geodetic reference reference marks. So this is what we refer to as primary survey marks, and these are geodetic marks. So the geodetic reference system, or these primary survey marks that we use for the geodetic reference system, can then be used to create the basis of more localized control marks that are referenced on a smaller area. So assuming that from this whole geodetic network, we might need to then establish more control marks around these geodetic marks. We can use these geodetic marks as a reference to these new control survey marks. So the geodetic or the primary survey marks that we have are of higher levels of accuracy than, say, the other control secondary survey control marks. So that you'll have from these primary survey marks, you're then able to have secondary survey marks of a lower level of accuracy standards, but they are basically created from these geodetic networks. So that's why in here we indicate that this geodetic reference system, meaning that these highly accurate geodetic marks then provide the underlying spatial reference systems for the rest of New Zealand. And LINZ, one of the main responsibilities of LINZ is to maintain those geodetic control survey marks, as well as the secondary marks. So all the other marks that are created from these primary survey marks. So the geodetic reference system provides the underlying spatial reference system for New Zealand. It involves a network of primary survey marks on the ground, and the position of these marks are in terms of a New Zealand-based datum. Some of you, again, might not be familiar with the term datum. but you will come across it in Land Surveying 1 and other courses that we have. But basically, a datum is a reference system that we use to then um, to model or to conduct our localized surveys around a specific location. So in this case, NZGD 2000 is the local datum that we have in New Zealand, and it stands for the New Zealand Geodetic Datum of 2000. So at this stage, you don't really need to know too much about it, but it's a good way to be introduced to our New Zealand geodetic datum, which is the basis again of this network of primary survey marks that we have all across New Zealand. So in turn, this primary network then provides all the spatial referencing framework for any other cadastral surveying system that we have again in New Zealand. And this in turn supports all other spatial aspects of topographic and geological mapping in the country as well. So the cadastral surveying system is the basis for all other information and surveys related to topographic, geological mapping, and other sorts of surveying work that we do day to day. So just going back, so just a reminder that we have the geodetic reference system, but we also have the cadastral surveying system. So on this page here, we just spoke about the geodetic reference system, and in this page, in this slide here, we'll be talking about the cadastral surveying system. So again, they are slightly separate. So the cadastral surveying system is the framework that includes all surveying reference points for land surveys and boundary marks, as well as the spatial definition of cadastral records through what we call as approved survey plans. So all survey plans are created from the cadastral surveying system that creates that framework, which includes all the surveying reference points related to land surveys and boundaries, and the spatial definition of the cadastral records through the surveying plans. The information from this then enables the identification and definition of land parcels that can then be used to register and record all land interests under the Torrens system, as well as Maori land and Crown land systems. So I think this here would be what you remember from what we covered over the last couple of weeks when we showed you the cadastral survey data set and the information that is collated within those cadastral survey data sets, and how they link with registering and recording those land interests using the Torrens system. For instance, using the Torrens system, but also the Maori land system and other forms of land ownership. So effectively, it is what provides a national property framework. So the framework is consistent across New Zealand. So that's what we mean when we say a national property framework that supports, then can be used to support multiple users as well as users.